Hi guys, welcome back to Technical Gaming and welcome to our Torchlight Infinite Carino Lethal Flash Whirlwind Blade build. Now if you haven't watched the first video for this build, I highly suggest to watch it. It's in the video description. Just kind of click the link for you to be routed to the playlist. There's also other builds other than Carino that you might want to try this season of Twightmare. Now let's jump right in. Let's go over to the gears that we have. So for the gears, if you haven't watched the first video, basically this is the same set of gears that we have, but there are some changes that I made a little bit for this. But for those who are just watching or first time watching this, just kindly stick around for this, or you can just simply watch the other video to follow. Now of course this build focus on skill radius and as well as an energy shield, area damage, of course elemental resistance as a starting point. It's really helpful to have this kind of affixes on your gears together with your talents as well. So let's just discuss for the Elder Sage. We have area damage, of course, as I mentioned, energy shield, skill radius, and I was lucky to have this 8% less damage for enemy nearby. It's really important with erosion resistance to cap our resistance. For energy, Elder Sage Regalia, of course, energy shield. And we also have elemental resistance here together with skill radius. For the uniques, this is one of it, which is Misfortune Watch. You need to have a corroded version for the 12% less frigid domain sealed mana, because we have frigid domain as an for our auras and also some precise projectiles. So it's really important to have this mod. It has elemental resistance, as you can see, together with shield, together with 200% additional critical strike rating for the next main skill used for every 2 seconds. And there's another unique here for the Pale Mist. Of course, it has skill radius for 30%, and it also has 33% decrease on skill radius is also applied for air damage. So this combo is really good for Whirlwind Blade skill. Now for the boots, we have of course energy shield, but what really important to note is you need to have at least 40% movement speed. Now it's really recommended because you need to be fast in order for you to use your Whirlwind Blade, and then it will just simply follow you through all the maps. Okay, but if you don't have the 40% movement speed yet, that's perfectly fine. Just cast Whirlwind Blade just frequently and you can just go back. Of course, it has elemental resistance, cold and erosion. For the rings, this is not yet optimized, but of course this is the only one that I have for now. It has a focus blessing with cold damage and some resistances. This one is really nice because it has 12% max life together with defenses, life regen together with elemental resistance, and some resistance like erosion and fire rest. Now for the weapon, I highly suggest to have this. It's really cheap, guys. If you have +4 active skill, is really helpful. Just in level 61 you can simply get this +4 with only 1 FE, as you can see. And with the cold damage to the gear is only 1 FE. Physical damage, I'm not sure if there's none, but you need to have at least these mods right here for you to get by. Okay, but if you don't have this, sometimes it's really difficult to find that one, but there is an alternative version for this. You can just simply go here and just go over to the cannons. You can use Frozen River. In this way, you can convert 50% of your physical damage to cold damage, and you can actually convert 100% of this by using your Divinity Slate. But I will gonna explain that one later, okay? But if you have this, much better too. Now let's just go over to our skill. Okay, for the skills, we have of course Whirlwind Blade together with multiple projectiles, freeze chance, added cold damage, of course physical damage together with slow projectile to pump the damage for the Whirlwind Blade. Of course, this is a spell, persistent physical in area skill. That's why we have most of our skill for area damage together with radius, just to of course cover the whole map while you are mapping. For the defensive skill, we have Frost Shield together with Rhythm, of course, so that I don't have to click a lot of skills while I'm doing the farming. And this is the one that's really helpful. It's really needed for this build because we are pumping also some flat damage. And this centralized loading for the mobility skills will provide you 129%, guys, of flat damage. It's really huge amount of flat damage that it can provide to you. Okay, that's why it's really important to have this centralized loading. We also have burst of anger for area, of course. If you encase the area, of course, it's much better. For biting cold, for our debuff for our enemies. And for our auras, and this is an update, this is the one that I've changed. So I purchased Precise Frigid Domain together with Precise Projectiles. Selfless for basically for mana, sealed mana for the aura skills. And for another defensive, for auto defense, we have Forced Start. Of course, we have a lot of energy shield, so we need to always generating our shield in case, especially during timer 7 and on the Nightmare. We also have added Elemental Rest, of course, to cap our resistance. And we have Precise Ice Imbue. Of course, this is just for mapping because it has mod to kill enemies 20% chance to explode. Okay, so that's the skill. We also have the talent. Of course, first is Goddess of Knowledge with Chili. And we also have Insight. Here it is. Next talent would be Magister with Shell. And we also have Mind Blade. So I already explained this on our previous video, why this one is really important, the Mind Blade, because it provides 100% of the main hand weapon damage to spells. Okay, since this is the one that we have. Okay, and then for the Warlord, for some of you who is asking why it's Warlord is here on the talent, because it's more on area talent. That's why we have the sweep, because it has 20% chance for area skills to deal double damage. And also together with this focus strike, again, this is area skill to deal up to 40% additional damage to enemies at the center. So since, as I mentioned, a Whirlwind Blade is an area skill, this talent alone would gonna benefit us a lot in terms of area damage. So here is what we have. And I just went back to finish this area damage nodes. We're gonna pump the area damage right now. Okay, now for the slates, this is the one that you actually need to have. Converts 50% of physical damage to cold damage, and if you add Frozen River, basically all the physical damage will be converted to cold damage. Okay, so I was just lucky to have this mod. All ones is really helpful for this build. And I just put in everything that I need, that I have. So this is a spell skill, because you know, Whirlwind Blade is also a spell skill, and it has radius as spell damage and sealed mana. Here we have 20% damage dealt to nearby enemy, another flat damage that we have. And this one, 30%. You need to have this at least for the triggered skill for it to have less sealed mana of 30%. I just put here this one because just to fill in the gap. It has, of course, a good mods like defenses and elemental resistance and energy shield regen as well. Okay, for the hero trait, so this is the one that I have with this hero relic. It's really important to have this. And this one for the first slot, 42% reload speed and 18% movement speed. So we're pumping also movement speed so that we can be faster when mapping. Eve of Kingslaying on the third slot, it's really important. And the third one is of course reload speed for 16% movement speed as well. Desperate Measure is really our main hero trait here, that it provides a lot of boost in terms of flat damage. And then for the Pact Spirit, still the same guys, its balance is more on elemental resistance, damage mitigation, and experience bonus. If you're leveling, you can just simply have all the experience bonus here in order for you to level up fast. This is another elemental resistance spirit. And since this is a spell, Whirlwind Blade is also a spell. We put this legendary hero here. I was lucky to have this, so it has spell damage and cast speed and spell to deal double damage. So I'm filling this up right now, as you can see. Alright, there you go. And there you have it. That's an update for our Torchlight Infinite Carino Lethal Flash Whirlwind Blade build. If you haven't subscribed yet, consider subscribing to get update about Torchlight Infinite builds and updates and other gaming updates as well. If you have any questions, feel free to ask on the comments and let me know on the comments what you think about this build. Thank you again for watching until the end, and see you again on our next video.